Right, every Monday we do a deep dive into what your elected officials have been up to, and this week we are starting in Iowa, where this year's session officially ended last week, but lawmakers still have not passed a budget, so now they're in overtime, which means they're not getting paid. Here to help break down the latest is Dana Searles of our sister station WOI in Des Moines. Dana, thanks for being back with us. I want to start with one of the main reasons why the GOP has not passed their budget yet. They want to get property tax reform over the line first. Where does this stand right now?
Yeah, so after hearing from lawmakers, it sounds like property taxes will be kind of that final thing to get across the finish line before lawmakers can gavel out. And there's still a lot of back and forth that we're seeing. I think all year long, ever since the first day of the legislative session, we've been talking about three different proposals. The Senate Republicans have their proposal, House Republicans have their proposal, and then Governor Reynolds has her proposal. So what we talked about last week is the Senate passed its proposal with bipartisan support. That moved through the House. Now, this week, or last week rather, the House amended the Senate's proposal and added a few more things to match with a lot of their priorities much closer. The biggest difference between those two bills and what the House added and took out of the Senate's is that cap on revenue growth for local governments. So we've talked about it. This has not changed really all legislative session. The House wants to see a 2%, a hard 2% cap on revenue growth for local governments. Meanwhile, the Senate wants to see that 2% be a soft cap and have it be more tied towards inflation. So those are the two big things that we have seen go back and forth this entire legislative session. Another thing that was in the Senate's bill is eliminating the decades-old rollback system, which limits a home's taxable value. That's another thing that the House removed. One thing the House did add on top of their hard 2% cap is allocating more money from the Secure Advanced Vision for Education Fund, also known as the SAVE Fund, towards property tax relief. And what that specifically is, it's a statewide 1-cent sales tax that was established years ago to basically provide a dedicated revenue stream for school infrastructure. So this would take some of that revenue and allocate that towards property tax relief. So that's another thing I wanted to note on how these property tax proposals could impact you. But like I mentioned, since the House amended the Senate's version, this bill now goes back to the Senate.
Even though lawmakers are having a hard time agreeing on property taxes, one bill that has passed the House and the Senate is now considering is Governor Reynolds' Make America or Make Iowa Healthy Again bill. It's pretty wide-ranging. It would make changes to things like Iowa's SNAP food benefits, school lunches, even like the way that kids learn. So what's happening with this bill?
Yeah, so in this bill, I think the biggest thing is what you noted is it would make major changes to Iowa's SNAP benefits, and it would put restrictions on what Iowans can buy with those food assistance dollars. Basically, what it would do is it would ban Iowans from buying unhealthy foods with SNAP benefits. So things like pop, soda, candy, etc. This is also a big bill that is really, Governor Reynolds says is trying to align with Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s Make America Healthy Again initiative. So this is trying to align Iowa with that more national initiative that we are seeing from HHS. So in addition to limiting those SNAP benefits, like you mentioned, it does a long list of things. One big thing is it would restrict on certain food dyes that can be used in school lunches. The biggest one being red dye number 40. That's in things also like candy, ice creams. It's in some yogurts, in a lot of cereals. So that's something that could have a big impact on what school lunches can be serving. That includes things like breakfast, lunch. I know a lot of kids eat before school breakfast there. Another thing that it would do is it would limit K through 5 students to just 60 minutes of digital learning per day, really trying to emphasize putting the technology down. So those are just a few things that it would do. But the biggest thing that Iowans would need to know about is those SNAP benefits and how that would be impacted, is they wouldn't be able to buy certain foods under those SNAP benefits.
You know, for several months, we've been following a bill that's all about foster parents. It went back and forth between the House and the Senate, but now it is on the governor's desk. What does this bill say?
It would make a foster parent who's applying to be a foster parent, they would not be able to be ruled out based on their religious or moral beliefs. Another thing that it would add, that foster parents also can't be ruled out for accepting or supporting a policy related to sexual orientation or gender identity that conflicts with their beliefs. So it's something that, like I mentioned, those for this bill think that it'll help retain and recruit foster parents. However, those against feel like it could put LGBTQ youth at risk. Because this would kind of open the door, at least what those against are saying is that this could open the door to parents forcing a child to be raised by their pronouns that were used on their birth certificate, or also just they would be able to be forced to be raised under certain religious beliefs if that foster parent would be raising that child. So it adds certain protections, I guess, to foster parents, but the biggest thing in this is on that application for foster parents, is this would allow foster parents to have that freedom to raise their foster kids with their religious and their moral beliefs.
Finally, Dana, before I let you go, late last week, the House was considering a right to repair bill. It's gotten a lot of buzz all over the state, but then it was pulled. What happened?
What this bill would do is it would basically require farm equipment, agricultural equipment manufacturers to make their services, their repair services, equipment, tools, softwares available to independent farmers and independent equipment manufacturers at a fair and reasonable cost. What it would also do is it would just allow for farm equipment or farmers to make their own repairs to ag equipment. So it's a big thing that honestly is a big national initiative. So what happened was it went through both subcommittee and committee, but then it was eligible for debate in the House both on, I believe it was Tuesday and Wednesday of last week, and we never saw that be brought to the floor. And then come Thursday of last week, we did not see that on the debate eligibility list, meaning that it was pulled. So since we are still in session, we could still see that bill be brought back to life. But since we have seen it pulled for after 2 days, and a lot of the focus is now on property taxes, I don't know if we're going to see that bill. However, I do want to say it is still eligible to be brought to the floor. But I know it's a lot of people. A lot of people have their eyes on this bill, and it could have some major consequences for farm equipment manufacturers. So we'll keep an eye on it to see if it does get brought back. However, at this point, we're not seeing much traction on it.
Between this and the budget and property taxes, we got a lot that we're still watching. It doesn't seem like the session is quite close to ending just yet. Dana, thank you so much, as always, for your time. And for you guys at home, we have our political coverage for both states up on our website underneath the As Seen on TV tab at the top of the homepage.